Hello, kids. My name's Harry Truman. I was the 33rd President of the United States and the best President of the United States. Here's how I'm going to prove to you that I was the best President ever. I went to France during World War I as a captain in the field artillery. Returning, I married Elizabeth Virginia Wallace and opened a haberdashery in Kansas City. While I was president, I made some crucial decisions in history. Soon after VE Day, the war against Japan had reached its final stage. An urgent plea to Japan to surrender was rejected. Truman, which is myself, after consultations with my advisors, I ordered atomic bombs dropped on cities devoted to war work. Two were Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Japan quickly surrendered after this event. So far, I had followed my predecessor's policies, but soon I developed my own. I presented to Congress a 21-point program proposing the expansion for Social Security, a full employment program, a permanent fair Employment Practices Act, and public housing and slum clearance. The program that I wrote symbolizes me, my assumption of the office of president in my own right, and it became known as the Fair Deal. Dangers and crises marked the foreign scene as I campaigned successfully in 1948. In foreign affairs, I was already providing the most effective leadership. In 1947, as the Soviet Union pressured Turkey, and although guerrillas threatened to take over Greece, I asked Congress to aid the two countries, enunciating the program that bears my name, the Truman Doctrine. The Marshall Plan, named for my Secretary of State, stimulated spectacular economic recovery in war-torn Western Europe. When the Russians blockaded the western sectors of Berlin in 1948, I created a massive airlift to supply Berliners until the Russians backed down. Meanwhile, I was negotiating a military alliance to protect Western nations, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, established in 1949. In June of 1950, when the communist government of North Korea attacked South Korea, I conferred promptly with this military advisors. There was, I wrote, complete, almost unspoken acceptance on the part of everyone that whatever had to be done to meet this aggression had to be done. There was no suggestion from anyone that either the United Nations or the United States could back away from it. A long, discouraging struggle ensured as UN forces held a line above the old boundary of South Korea. I kept the war a limited one, rather than risk a major conflict with Russia and perhaps China. If you didn't know this, I assisted in finding the United Nations. I passed the $13 million, that's billion, Marshall Plan to rebuild Europe, including the Axis powers of both world wars. I supported and recognized the State of Israel when it declared itself a nation. Talking about the atomic bombs, like I mentioned before, the use of the atomic bombs on Japan, which probably ended the war faster than if had not. Otherwise, we would have invaded Japan instead of dropping bombs, which could have taken years and millions of lives. American lives, that is. When Franklin Roosevelt was alive, and I was vice president, I had never even heard of the Manhattan Project until I became president. A little fun thing, which is a little bit unknown that I did, is when the White House, when I was living in it, I was playing piano one day and the leg went through the floor, so I had that whole floor rebuilt on the inside, obviously. Well, I hope you learned a lot about my history. Have a good day.